Okay, I think we can start. So this session was conducted because a lot of students have been requesting to keep one session as per the Pacific time zone. So I'm sure most of you must be attending
Your
the live
sound is
session.
not audible.
Everyone else is able to hear me, I'm sure.
No, I are not. We are not able to hear you.
Nobody can hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
You are audible.
Oh, you'll have to check your system. I don't know.
You are audible, ma'am. Audible, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm going to start the session now. So last time, if you have seen the recordings, most of you must be joining us live for the first time. So we began with the consonants, the Vyanjan, K and Ch varg was what we did last time. So today we are beginning with the next varg, which is T varg. So this on the left hand side that you see is the Devanagari equivalent. I have already written them here. So I'll begin with the Sharda letters now. So this is T that I'm writing on the right hand side of this. So we draw the Shirorekha first and we start from the left of the Shirorekha. The vertical stroke. I request everyone else to please mute. And once we reach here, we draw a loop here. So this loop that I'm drawing here is a soft round. It's not an angular curve here. It's not like this. So what you see here on the left hand side, it's a soft curve. And very close to the Shirorekha, we draw a small narrow triangle. This triangle is also a sharp angle triangle here. Okay, I'm going to draw it one more time. So this is the vertical stroke here. From the left of the Shirorekha, we start this. Then we curl it here and stop it right here, just below the Shirorekha. So the entire letter has to be in the frame. Okay. So this loop and this triangle, nothing is going out from the Shirorekha. The Shirorekha, we draw this triangular loop here. I'll draw it with a non-calligraphic brush as well.
Does the Shirorekha, no, does the triangle and the loop have to be in the same alignment?
The triangle and the loop.
Yep.
Yes, the triangle can go a little away from the loop, so that is
Okay.
also okay. So, but the entire letter should be within the frame that as I've shown.
Yep. Thank
So
you.
it should not cross the Shirorekha. So here if you see the triangle on the top is where the loop at the bottom is ending, and here it's a little smaller. So that's fine. So this I'm drawing with the round tip. This is how it is going to look like if you draw it with a non-calligraphic brush. And make sure that this triangle on the Shirorekha that you're drawing is sharp angle triangle and not a round. This is how it has to be drawn and not like this. And
Jean?
as already, yes.
Would you be able to show us the in-between lines? Remember last time you had...
Yes, I'll come to that as well.
Okay, thank you.
So, yes. So what I was saying is this triangle is similar to what we did when we were doing the curve work, the last letter from that work. We had that triangle at the end of that letter as well. So it's a similar triangle that we did there. And make sure here as well the rule is same for this letter as well. We do not make this triangle very wide. Okay, it has to be kept very narrow. Here, like this. So whoever joined the last session, so this was mentioned in the last session, this particular letter is N, the nasal N from K Varg, and this also has a similar triangle towards the end of the Shirorekha, and the same triangle we are using here for T as well. So this is just for the reference, I am drawing it here.
And the bending line, does it have a curve in the end also?
You're talking about T or the nasal N?
T.
Okay, the bend here. You mean this bend?
In between it is bent. In the end also, is it bent or is it straight?
See, there are, you can keep it like this. You will see in our reference material it is written like this, but in some of the manuscripts you might also find a little curled up version also of this.
Okay.
Yeah, so both are fine. Okay, now I'm going to draw it within the 3 lines that we did last time. So if you're drawing it in a 3-line notebook, so we start from the top one here, draw the Shirorekha, and from the left, this is where it will end, and the small triangle will attach here. So this is T. Now moving on to the next one, T. For T, simply we draw this round figure. So this is T.
Hello, madam, you are not audible. Please speak loudly.
I'm trying to speak as loud as I can. I'm sure everyone else can hear me. Fine, but I think there is something wrong with your system, sir. Can you please check that?
Rakesh, can you re-log in? If you can just go out and try to log in again. Rakesh.
Your system volume must be low or something, or probably.
Is it a perfect circle or it's oval?
It's a round, it's a perfect round circle. It's not oval. It's just because I'm using a calligraphic brush, so sometimes, this circle looks like a little oval circle. So this is just a round. I'll draw it with a normal non-calligraphic brush. This is how it's going to look like. So it doesn't have a Shirorekha, so this is another letter that doesn't have a Shirorekha. And if we are drawing it in a 3-line notebook,
Just to share, interestingly, Odia language also has exactly like this.
is it
Written like this.
okay? Yes, there are some similarities in a lot of the scripts, the regional Indian scripts. So th would be exactly in between 3 lines. So this round that we are drawing here, it will be of the same size as the other letters along with it that you're writing. For example, you're writing T with T, so here this is T, I'm writing T next to it. So for example, if it's a combined word, so it will be of the same size. So it won't be smaller or bigger than the other letter next to it. Okay, so the next one is this D. So this one has a Shirorekha, and from the middle of this Shirorekha we draw this small indicative vertical stroke, and from here itself we start curling it here around and stop this curve here. This loop should be stopped here. I'll draw it one more time and then I'll explain. So here we stop. So if you notice, if I'll draw an imaginary axis here, this is the central axis. So this is just imaginary central axis, and if you see this letter, this particular letter, the curl, this end point is not touching the central axis here. So we stop way before this axis. Okay, we do not get it close to this central axis. Now there is a reason behind it. We'll see some letters that are similar looking, and that's why we are asking you to keep this letter, this end, a little shorter. I'll explain in the next work why we keep this shorter, because of some of the other letters that have a similar shape. Here I'm going to draw it again. This loop, this stroke that I'm drawing, it has to be very small. And here we draw this round. This is a complete round. And then we get it further down and stop it. And we do not get it all the way till here. So that's the only thing that you need to keep in mind while drawing this particular letter. Here we stop it. So this is how it is going to look like with a non-calligraphic brush. Here. This is how it will fit in these 3 lines. This is how it's going to look like. Okay, now the next one is dha. So for this we start from the left of the Shirorekha, a straight vertical stroke, and then we make a round here at the end of the stroke. Then we make a round here. And make sure that this round at the end, this is closed.
Does that round go outside the Shirorekha?
Yeah, in this case, I'll come to that. Just give me a second. Okay, now this particular letter, if you see this slant, so when we draw it in a 3-line book, so this dha would come a little, it will get extended a little bit. And also about this round that we are drawing, if you see, it is enclosed within, although it is in the same frame, but because of this round that we are drawing at the end, it's not very small as compared to this left circle. This round on the right is very big. The round is too big, so at times it might come like this also. So if you see, it is extending the line here, it is extending the Shirorekha, it's coming a little bit towards the right hand side and coming out of the frame. So in this case, in this dha, excuse me, in case of this dha, that is all right. if I draw it here within a 3 line, because this line particularly on the left hand side, it will be little shorter as compared to this. See, if you see here on the right hand side, it is extending from the right hand side, and it is going a little bit outwards. And even if you keep it within the frame, within the Shirorekha, so that there is no wrong and right in that. But then it shouldn't be like too much also outside. It shouldn't be like this as well. So this would be incorrect. So a little bit outside the Shirorekha is fine. Okay, so the last one from this varg is no. And for this letter also doesn't have a Shirorekha. So I draw this curve in the beginning. Then I draw one loop. Then without lifting my hand, I draw another loop. This is no. So you must be wondering that why I started from right to left. So that is as per your convenience. I draw it right to left. You can start it from left to right as well. You can draw it like this also. Now the only thing here that you need to keep in mind is these two loops. They are of the same size, and they both are ending at the same point. The end point for all the two loops is same. So what we have seen particularly with this letter, students try to they tend to write it like this. So this particular shape is incorrect. It has to be in the straight line, whether you start from left to right or right to left, but this shape has to be like this. And this loop, in the beginning, the left hand side loop, you can curl it a little bit inwards, as you see I've done it here. So this is no. And for the 3 line, this is excuse me, this is how it is going to look like. So it should be, you can fit it within the 3 lines. It shouldn't be smaller. You should not make it like this and try to keep it only in the last 2 lines. The size has to be same of all the letters, whether it is th or na.
The top line. Sorry, the top line, which is the very top line, does that curve have to be touching that, or is it a bit extended?
Yeah, this curve you're talking about, right? So
yes.
This curve, it should touch the first line here, and the rest 2 loops, as you see, they are a little shorter as compared to this.
Okay. Thank you.
So this is the ter work, and with this we complete the ter work, and then we'll move to the next one. If there is any question, you can ask here, or otherwise we can take the questions at the end of the session and we do the revision. Okay, so let us move on to the next work, that is the work. So the first letter, the, draw the Shirorekha first on the top, and from the extreme left hand side, we are not leaving any space from the left. This is the, and you will also find this letter in some of the manuscripts written without the Shirorekha. But most of the manuscripts have them with the Shirorekha. So we usually draw the Shirorekha on the top of this letter. Now about these two loops that we are drawing here, let us see with the non-calligraphic brush. So this is the Shirorekha from the extreme left when we start. So these two loops are of the same size. They are ending at the same point here. No loop is extending here. In case of somewhat similar to the swar u, in that case we extend this tail here, and then we have this triangle on the top, this angled loop structure on the top. But in this case, both the loops are rounded. There is no angled structure here, and we do not extend this tail in case of the.
If we draw a vertical line on that extreme left,
Here.
does it all have to align with
Yes,
that, or it can be
yes,
inside
it
the
all
line?
has to align. It all has to.
Even
align.
the center one too, center point.
The center can be always. I mean, center can be a little smaller.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. But these two loops, they should be aligning here, coinciding with this imaginary line here on the left hand side. And if I draw a 3 line on this, here like this. So this central loop you'll always find a little smaller. Not too small as well, but a little one. If I draw a line here, you will see the difference. Just a little gap is left in between. Okay. So the next one is the. So we draw this loop first. This loop will be covering the half of the letter. It's not a small loop. It's covering the almost half of the letter. Then we draw this vertical line on the right hand side. And exactly in the center we draw this line, which is parallel to the Shirorekha. So I'll draw it one more time. This is the. You can start from the Shirorekha also. I started making the letter first. You can draw the Shirorekha first and then make this loop here. Then the vertical stroke. And
Does this line have to be longer? The one which we just now draw like curve?
No, not like it is. So this basically this will cover the half of the letter, this upper section, and this will be the other half. So you don't have to extend it. And in case of tha, there are some variations also. So here I drew this tha straight. I made this loop straight. Correct? There is no bending or no curves here. But in certain cases, in certain texts, you might find a little a very small curve here in between. So I'm just telling you so that when you come across such different versions, you should know that these curves are also there in thir. So sometimes you might see thir written like this as well. Now this curve that you see, it's a very minuscule curve here in the beginning. It's not a very huge curve that is, you know, visible like this. It's not like that. A very small indicative kind of a curve that merges with the Shirorekha. So this is one version that you will find in some of the texts. But you can continue with this one that we are doing right now, the straight curve. So this is within the 3 lines. Okay, I'll take a new page now. I don't have any space left here. Okay, the next one is the. We start from the left. Now you will find some similarities with the letter that you have already done. Now this is the. We did this letter somewhat very similar to it, dha, before. So now the point of difference between the two is, so this that you see on the left hand side, it's a round figure. Just because of the kind of brush I'm using, it might show you a little angles and cuts here, but it is basically a round shape here. And then the rest of
Madam,
the
please speak loudly. You are not audible.
So this line that I'm drawing here, this is exactly what we did in case of dha. This slant is going to be same. Now instead of this round that we are drawing here, we just leave it like that. We do not round it here, we do not curl it up. So this is dha that we did in the last work. The only difference between da and dha, if you see, is this round loop. Now here in case of the round, and then you can leave it like this, okay, without making a little small curve here, or the other way of doing it is, a little curl towards the end. So both the ways are fine. Here I've left it without making any curve at the end. Here I've made a little curve, and this particular letter, this falls within the frame. It doesn't extend the Shirorekha. Here in case of dha, although it doesn't, but since we have this bigger loop towards the end, so it might go a little beyond outside the Shirorekha, but here in this case it remains within. So this is the, and I'll write with a normal round brush. This is the. So this curve that we are making at the end, it has to be very small. Don't try to make it like this, you know, otherwise it will start appearing as dha. So a small curve towards the end is fine. So the next one is dha, Now for this we begin with the Shirorekha. Start from the left of the Shirorekha, and here that I am drawing is the shape of U, the capital letter U. And these corners that you see here on the left and the right, these are soft edges and not the angled ones. And if I draw it within the lines, so this letter also will be as big and or as small as the other letters. This is the U-like figure, the capital U-like figure. Make sure that this distance and this there is a distance here, and make sure that this is wide enough. Okay, so the last one from this work, no. So this particular letter is very similar to the Devanagari version. So we start from the middle, draw this vertical stroke here. And again, what we have in Devanagari, from the middle of this vertical line, we draw another line here. And this is no. So now the only difference here is this round that we saw in Devanagari. We do not have any round or any triangle attaching to this middle line here. And also this particular middle line should be inside the Shirorekha. It's not extending the Shirorekha. I'll draw it within the 3 line as well. So this particular middle stroke will be exactly in the center. And with a normal round brush or a round pen, this is how it is going to look like this. So from the right hand side, the Shirorekha can be a little smaller also. Extension towards the right hand side a little bit more. So to keep it shorter, you can draw a small Shirorekha. But make sure that the middle line is within the frame. From the right hand side, you can keep a little shorter Shirorekha also. So we have completed 2 work, that is ta and ta. So this was the last one from the ta work.
Hello.
Okay, so I think we can do one more work today, and then we will do the revision of all the letters, because we have enough time left. We have half an hour, 40 minutes more, 20 minutes more, sorry. So do you want me to go ahead with the next work, or should we do the revision?
No, we can go ahead.
Ma'am, please go ahead.
Okay, so let's do the next one also. So I'll start here only. one is per work. This is per. Now when I start per, as I mentioned in case of the beginning stroke is going to be somewhat similar. And we do not have a Shirorekha for per. Now in the beginning, that this curve that you see, it is very symbolic curve. So I'm not going to draw it like this. This is not the curve that we are drawing in the beginning. It's a very symbolic one. Just curl your pen a little in the beginning and then a straight line. So to understand it better, what we can do is just draw the per straight without any curve in the beginning. Draw it like this, and after you draw the straight per in the beginning, just draw a small curve here like this. So when you do it that way, the curve that you draw in the beginning will be smaller. Otherwise, if you tend to make it, it might become like this. So there is that this thing doesn't have to be protruding like this. This particular section that you see here, this is all straight. It is not protruding from left hand side. So in that case, draw per first. And then from here, extend a small curve in the beginning. But again, these 2 points, this and this, they all should be at the same line. We don't have a Shirorekha, but if I just draw an imaginary Shirorekha on top of it, this is how it should look like. Both should be ending at the same point. And if I draw the 3 line along with it, because this curve got hidden in between, so I'm just drawing it again. This is how it should be. See this per here? This is how you have to draw the curve, not very big, and the rest of the per should be straight. It is just in the beginning that you see a little curl at the left hand side. So we'll be also sharing the worksheets that we did last time. So I hope those worksheets were helpful to understand the shapes of the letters properly. So we will share those worksheets this time as well. So they'll help you to understand and make the proper shape. You can also take a printout, and that becomes more easier to follow if you take the printout and write on the same paper. Okay, so the next one from this is per. This is per in Devanagari. This letter has a Shirorekha, so we begin with the Shirorekha here. This is per. So I'll draw it one more time. Straight Shirorekha on the top, then we have this. There is one way of writing it. You can just directly start from the Shirorekha like this, or you can have a little curve here and draw this. But make sure that this particular loop and this round loop are again in the same line, and there should not be any, it should not be like this. So otherwise this way is also correct, like I have drawn here with a curl little bit here, or you can just simply draw it like this. So it's not a straight line, basically I'm not drawing a straight vertical stroke here. So there is a bend. Either you do it this way, a little bend towards the right hand side and then make a round like this, or you make a bend towards the left hand side and then you get this kind of a line here, this kind of a stroke. So both are fine, but don't make it a straight line. This is not a straight line. And this loop, you here, if you see, this loop is a little smaller here, and in the beginning if you see this loop, I made a little bigger hole.
Ma'am, the first one and the third one is different. In the first one, you made a notch at the beginning.
Sorry?
In the first one and the third one are different. Like
Yes,
in the first
these
one,
are the variations I'm showing, because usually you will see in our reference material that PO is written like this. But you might come across many on the right hand side. So I'm just showing the variations of this. So you can go, for now you can go as per the reference material, would be easier for you to practice.
Ma'am, will the loop on the right hand side will coincide with the Shirorekha?
This one here, right, it should be within the Shirorekha. It's not extending from here, from the right hand side. So all are, see, if you, here also if you see it is within the Shirorekha, here also if you see it is within the Shirorekha. Even if you draw the circle bigger, it is within the Shirorekha.
Thank you.
So here if you see in the third line, 3 line, here this loop is covering the entire half, and here where I drew the loop little smaller, so this is not covering the entire half of this. So it is a little smaller, it's not covering the entire space here. But make sure that this loop on the right hand side, it's visible. It shouldn't be too small also. Otherwise, this too small, it won't be, it should be little visible. So this much is fine. But again, ending at the same point and within the Shirorekha. Okay, now let's see the next letter. This is B. And here we draw the Shirorekha and start from the middle here. Extend this vertical stroke, and towards the end draw this circle here. I'll draw it again. The vertical stroke, then it ends here. So basically this shape towards the end, this is covering the half of the letter. If you see, this stroke is covering the half and the rest of the shape is covering the half of the letter. And this round at the end, it is to be drawn like this. I'll just show you how to draw the this particular shape. So here you'll see a little curve here. It's not exactly round like this. Not exactly like this. Not a boxed figure. So you'll see a small this curve here. That is how you have to draw the shape basically. If I draw it with a normal brush also, I'll show you how it looks. This doesn't have to be a sharp angle triangle as we did for E and in case of the vowels we drew a figure like this, if you remember. Correct? So it shouldn't be like that. There is no sharp angle triangle at the end. So this is a round, a soft round, and then it goes up and attaches to the vertical stroke like this. So only thing here is this particular shape here that you see, this a little slant you will see. And if I draw the 3 lines on top of it, this is how it's going to look like. So the last loop would be covering the space in between, the entire space here. Now the next one that we have is bha. Now here from the middle we start. This is again a very small stroke, and then we make a round like shape here. We get it all the way up here and leave it here. I'm going to draw it one more time. Exactly from the center we start. This is a round shape here. Then the rest of the figure, if you remember, we just did in case of da. The rest of the shape is like that, but in case of da, we stop it here. We do not get it all the way near the central axis, but here we get it all the way up, and this curve we have to take it further up, and where this loop is starting we just leave a little space in between and stop it here. I'm going to show the other letter also to show you the point of differences between the two letters. Here, this is da that we just saw in the beginning of the class, and that is the reason why I was telling that while making this particular shape we do not extend it further, because if you extend this da here in case of this shape, it might start looking like bha. So that is how this da is different from bha. Here I'm drawing this central axis again here. If you see, there is a lot of gap in between this end and this axis, and here if you see, this is exactly coinciding with the central axis. It's coming all the way up here. The space between this loop, this round, and this stroke is very less, if you see here. So make sure that the gap that you're leaving in between is very less. It's almost like touching the circle, if you see. And when you start reading the manuscripts, you will also see bh written like this. So that's probably because all the manuscripts are handwritten, and they used to use the column and the ink. So most of the times, because of the ink that gets blotted, and also it looks almost touching the circle, but we usually leave a little gap in between. Very less, although. Okay, so I'll draw the 3 line on top of it. First, and if you see this closure of the curve, if you see, it is almost going, touching the second line also here. It has to be that close. How it should be. Okay, so the last one from this varg is ma. This is ma. It doesn't have a shirorekha. Again, I'm drawing. You can keep. Last time also I had told that keep making a note on the side of the notes where you are writing all these letters. The letters with the shirorekha and without the shirorekha, because we are going to learn some rules on basis of the shirorekha, the letters with the shirorekha and without the shirorekha. So basically in the beginning there is this curve, and here we draw this round shape here, then there's a straight line, and then this vertical stroke here. So this is ma without the shirorekha. And if I draw it with a non-calligraphic brush, this is how it's going to look like. And within the lines, if I draw it, so here I think I made the vertical stroke a little longer, so it's coming out from the line, but that shouldn't be the case. It usually fits within the lines. I just extended the line a little bit. Here, this is how it should look like. This is ma. So we'll quickly revise whatever we learned today. So I'm going to erase all this. So I'll be writing only the Sharda equivalent to save the time, because we are only left with 5 minutes now. We started with ta varg. This is ta, and this is the triangle, the shirorekha. But the triangle has to be very narrow. You have to make the wide triangle here. Then the next one, tha, just a round, it's not oval, a simple round figure. Then da, and stop. The end, this end point should be away from the central axis. then dh, and the last one from this varg is hr. And the next varg was ta varg, ta, two loops of the same size ending at the same point, ta, tha, then the next one was the, small curve towards the end, then dha, capital U like figure joining the Shirorekha both at left and right side. Then the last one was na. You can either start from the center or you can start a little towards the right hand side so that you have lesser extension towards the right hand side of the Shirorekha, and you get enough space here to draw this middle line. This is na. Then the next one we saw was pa varg. To draw pa, there is a small curve in the beginning, then the rest of the letter is straight. So this is pa. This entire letter has to be straight. The curve is only in the beginning here, as told earlier. Pa. Then the next one is pa. So pa has a small curve here. If we begin like this, both this and this loop here, this shape and this shape should be ending at the same line, and this is within the Shirorekha. The next one is ba, where we start from the center, extend the vertical stroke, sorry, I'll do it again. This is ba. Again, this is a round, the shape is exactly round. This is soft corner here, a soft curve, not an angled one. The only thing here is this very slant. The line goes a little slant towards the left hand side and then it attaches to the stroke like this, the vertical stroke. And then the next one we have is bha. So we can either start from the center, and even if you start from the right hand side, the left hand side, this is also okay. Why? Because we have an extension of the curve behind. So this is also fine, or if you want to do it from the center of the Shirorekha, that is also okay, but make sure that the letter is covered entirely with the Shirorekha. Like this. This is how this will look like. So this is bha, and the last one from this is ma. these are the three of the work that we did today: ter, work, and per work. And we'll share the reference material and also the worksheets to help you understand the shapes better. If you find any variations in the reference material, don't worry about that. We are just making sure that you know all kind of variations. So you can go as per the reference material, or if you want to go what is taught in the class, both are okay. Although I try to keep it same as we have in our reference material, but there might be some letters which you'll see the different variation there, and that's why we are sending the worksheets also. We have started sending the worksheets also from last week onwards. So any questions so far? Any doubts or any questions? Okay, so I'll be
Hello.
just tell me.
Nidhi ji, this when you write bh, and if you come to the, do you have, okay, anyways, when you turn it around, how does the loop go? Sometimes the it looks almost like a slanted oval, or sometimes it looks kind of round.
Okay.
How exactly should it be? You know what I'm saying? The
Yes,
the
I got
bh.
it. I got your
Yeah.
question. So let me do it again. Okay. So this is the Shirorekha. You start from the left or the center, that's fine.
Okay.
Here you draw this vertical stroke, then there's a round here. So if you see in the reference material, this is how we have drawn it. But as I told you, there is no see the letters, they don't remain constant in all the texts that you read. Okay, so you will also see bh written like this, which goes straight like this. Okay, but I think let's go by the reference material. So these shapes that you see, these are the variations. So let's keep them aside for now.
Yeah.
So you, in our reference material, you'll always see, that oblong kind of a thing here.
Yeah,
Here,
I got
and
it.
here also you'll see this.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you so much. It's almost like it falls down and then you
Yes,
lift it up
yes.
again.
So let's keep it like this, okay?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
this is just
Thank
to
you.
make you understand how the loop goes, the variations basically.
Perfect. Thank you.
Ma'am, could you please help me with the formation of the se dadi again?
Right?
Right, the se dadi.
Okay. This is the vertical stroke. Then we have a round on the left hand side.
Ma'am, please share the screen.
Sorry, I didn't get you. Were you trying to say anything?
Your screen is not shared.
Oh, my screen is not.
Share the screen, please.
Okay, sorry, I forgot. Can you see it now?
Right, ma'am, yes.
Yes, so this is the round on the left hand side, then slant, and then you curl it a little bit towards the end. A little curve here. This is the.
A little bit round at the end.
Yeah, a little bit round at the end here. Like
inside
this.
the Shirorekha, right?
Yes, inside the Shirorekha. That's right.
Okay, thank you so much.
So is there anything else, or should we stop the lesson here?
No, thanks a ton.
Okay, thank you. So this weekend we won't be having, or before we end the session, this weekend we won't be having any class on Saturday. So this was a special session that we conducted for.
Can I ask you something before you leave? Sorry, can I ask you something?
Yes, please go ahead.
In this session, since obviously it was catering to the US group, now how many are there from US, by the way, in this group?
Participants can answer how many are there from the Pacific time zone, because this session was specially kept for them.
Yep. Is there anyone from US, by the way?
Okay, I don't think there is any. So, okay, anyways, we were trying to, adjust as per everyone's timings. Although it was a weekend, it was difficult for even me to take the session. But from next week onwards, we will do it on Saturdays, as we have already been doing. Saturday mornings, 11 to 12. So this Saturday, we won't be having any class.
Thank you. That's done.
Thank you everyone.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am,
Thank you
please
so much.
share the worksheet after the class.
I didn't get you. Were you saying anything? I didn't get you. I'm sorry.
Please share the worksheets after the class. Those
Yes.
help us
Yes.
a lot.
I'll share them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone.